How about just restructure your debt to increase your cash flow now? How about to end up having more properties free and clear with restructuring? How about this? Let's take that knowledge you got already between your ears and let's invest wisely.
You're listening to 5 Hour Real Estate Week, where you'll learn to consistently buy real estate in only 5 hours a week. So if you're ready to invest in real estate, achieve financial freedom, and own the lifestyle you deserve, even with your job, this is the show for you. Now, here's your host, Mike Butler.
Hello, fellow investors, and welcome to the 5 Hour Real Estate Week podcast. And today's episode is part 4 of a 4-part series that I'm doing on would you borrow $1 million if you could get it at 3% fixed for 30 years? Think about that one. That's pretty good. So parts 1, 2, and 3 dealt with the beginner investor, the investor who's already got a few properties under their belt. And then number 3 is the intermediate investor. And then part 4 is where we want to land. This is for the old veteran, the seasoned pro, the investor who is at a point in their investing career where they can say, hey, I'm done. Stick a fork in me. I'm done. I'm going to go to the beach. I'm going to go on cruises. I'm going to live life, play with my kids, my grandkids, whatever it is. And this is part 4 in this 4-part series for the veteran seasoned pro. Now, yeah, you could choose to stick a fork in me, but I want to run some things by you to tickle your brain a little bit, okay? You didn't get where you're at today by sitting on your butt, okay? I know that, you know that. And so what I'm going to ask you is, what could you do with this money? Let's just rub that genie bottle and pretend that you have an opportunity to borrow $1 million and it's only going to cost you 3% fixed rate for 30 years. Those are terms that we've never seen before. Okay. Is it out there? Nah, there's probably somebody that loaned it to you 3.5 or whatever, but that's not the message here. The message is, I want your brain to think, what could you do with this money? Could you restructure the debt to increase cash flow now? That's a thought. Maybe you got all your properties paid off now. Okay, that's fine. Would you still borrow $1 million at 3% fixed for 30? My dear friend and fellow investor and neighbor, Rue McFarland, bless his heart, he's probably up in his 70s. And he says, borrow as much as I can for as long as I can. And with terms like this, with the rates as low as they are. Now, this would be a totally different story if we went back to President Jimmy Carter era, where prime was 21%. I remember assuming a VA loan back in the day for it was 15%. And I was happy because I got a low interest rate. That sounds insane by today's rates, doesn't it? Okay. So how about this? How about just restructure your debt to increase your cash flow now? How about to end up having more properties free and clear with restructuring your debt? Interesting. How about this? Let's take that knowledge you got already between your ears and let's invest wisely, okay? And take this $1 million and crank it out. And let's say that you can crank it out and you can make 10%, 12% or more with passive income. That'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it? So let's run this little scenario by you. Let's say that you make a decision, you want to invest it in something that's going to have passive income for you, which means because you own it, it puts money in your pocket. And if you can crank it out at 15%, you subtract the 3% the money's costing you because you're buying it at 3%, see? So that means you're going to make 12% a year. Well, I chose these numbers because it's easy for me to do my Fred Flintstone 3-finger math in my head. And so if you're making 12% on it, after you pay your 3% of what it cost you to buy that money, that means you're going to have 1% profit every month. And 1% of $1 million, isn't that $10,000? Think about that. You can get 15% all day long as a hard money lender. Yeah, it's a little bit of work, okay, but it's fun, but you're not being a landlord. You're not doing property management, anything like that. And that's pretty slick. I can help you out if you want to see exactly how to do that, okay? And when we talk about the hard money lending, okay, if you think 15% is too much, I don't care. Make it 10%. Well, then you're making 7% for the year. And take 7% divided by 12 months, you can see how much you make. But I like 15%, and I can get that. And it's real easy because I just changed the words on how I market that. And I say, yeah, I'll loan you money. It's 1.25% per month. It sounds a whole lot cheaper than 15%, doesn't it? But if you do the math, it works out to be 15%. So if you loan out $50,000 at 1.25% per month, that's $625 interest-only payments they're going to be putting into your pocket. So now we've got today's sponsor. And this is something that I've been encouraged to bring up because a lot of you folks are asking about it. So today's sponsor is a home training system by yours truly, Mike Butler. It's called How to Buy Without Banks, Money, Credit, Private Lenders, or Partners. It's a home training system, and right now you can save 50% on it and get it at mikebutler.com. Just go to the website there and get it. And keep in mind that I have never, ever gone to a bank to buy an investment property. So that's the message from today's sponsor. Okay, let's go back to part 4 in this 4-part series. So we just finished up with a hard money lender, and let's do a worst case scenario. Okay, you're going to borrow the $1 million at 3% fixed for 30 and just simply go out and pay cash for X number of quality rentals. Not the low income stuff, but the stuff that's easy. The stuff that's easy to manage and doesn't cause any problems. That would be your worst case scenarios. How many could you go out and buy and pay cash for, either in my town or in your town? If your town doesn't work, come to my town. We've got plenty of them. And my point is this: let this money work for you. And the magic happens when you take your knowledge. This is for the veteran, seasoned, old pro investor who can make a decision to choose. Stick a fork in me now because I'm done. Okay, so use your knowledge and expertise between your ears and let this money work for you. That's what it's all about. It's not about you doing more. It's about you using your brains and expertise and let this money work for you 24/7. So that while you're having fun and while you're living the life that you have achieved, the lifestyle that you've already achieved, that this thing just cranks more money, put it in your pocket. Okay. Well, I just love the self-directed Roth IRAs, and who knows what's going to happen with all the changes in the tax laws. But this concludes this 4-part series. And would you borrow $1 million if you could get it at 3% fixed for 30 years? I hope you say yes. Adios.
Glad you joined us for another episode of 5-Hour Real Estate Week. The best thing you can do now is put this information to action. To help you get started, Mike created a free resource for you called How to Buy 50 Houses a Year, Even with Your Job. Download it now by going to mikebutler.com/50 houses. And we'll see you on the next episode.